All right, so we're just going to open up the space. I give all divine gratitude to the true session and all those that will be gathered in this time and in this place. So like I do many of my sessions, I just tend to open up, giving myself time first to release anything that is not going to service this particular time that we're having together. Normally it would be individual, but I'm appreciating being able to do this on a collective. So, I have a bell. It's one of my many bells. I like to ring the bell to just kind of what we tend to call opening the portalways for the spirit realm. And while I am going through this session on the truth session, I would like for you to, on those emojis or emojis, however you say it, to put a bell in the comments when spirit just drops something on you. It can be something personal, it can be something based on what I've relayed, but it's one way of us identifying in clarity that we're hearing from source, whether it's coming through me or it's coming through the apostle. So we'll start with this first. If you can see, I don't know how well you might be able to see this, but most of us know about dealing with sage, ancestral money, as well as the bell. So I am going to just go ahead and clear the passageway, which is what I normally do in session. Yeah. Dragon's blood, we all know this one. If we don't, it is so good for clearing, and definitely clearing when you're talking about people that are really, really tapping into doing that spiritual work. All right? So set your intentions right now, beloveds. Release. So we're going to cover the portalways because this is the internet, correct? So we have to be quite clear what it is that we're doing, how we're doing it, and in what space we are moving in. So I'm going to let this burn a little bit more while I continue. I would like for you to actually, if you grab a pen and paper, because this is the other thing that I mention and have done continuously for myself. I journal, I write. Anytime I have a thought, I'm downloaded with something that would service my highest good or someone that I love. So do grab that pen and paper. We are going to move into the space of our womb, which is why I absolutely felt this great urge to title this section, The Eternal, Internal, Invisible Womb. All right? So, let's start with this. We're going to honor the ancestors, ancestral money. All right? I can't see your comments, but I'm hoping that the moderators will let me know if you have a comment or question, this sort of thing. But this is our ancestor money. I am already taking the liberty to do a little writing on the back, and what I call that is definitely a decree. A decreeing of so for everyone who is within this time and space, who will actually hear of this message and is willing to receive that which services their highest good for their life's purpose and path. So we're also honoring the ancestors. And what I say to this too, because we learn about this in so many different fashions, our ancestors could be those who have transcended. The depth is you're also burning this money for them that service, who are about your liberation, all right? And the other thing is you're serving yourself, all right? Because we are the walking ancestors as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and burn the first one, just opening up the space, okay? Everybody just give all divine gratitude. Then I'm going to the second one, always allowing one to touch the other. The third one, set the intentions, the beloveds, send it up high so it come back down to the self. Each one has a decree on it that will service all of our highest good. And as it brings out, giving all divine gratitude, Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. All right. Allow that to go out. All right, I'm gonna sit a little comfortable, just a little comfortable. And I'm going to go through what I call the eternal, internal, invisible wound, and how we can very much accomplish, fulfill, and service everyone's highest good on a collective, because we each have our own role to play in our own life's journey. So we do have to put in our own work. So the first thing I want to go back to is the fact that this is the time, spiritual truths, we're in the 8. The other thing is we're going back to the matriarch. Another reason why the title and caption is so significant. We are going back to the matriarch. The matriarch is the birthing of the civilization, as most of us enter and understand. It also means that it's the birthing of man, the patriarch. And in this particular time, we get to see certain things happening in the world. Let's just put it that way. I won't go too far into that. What I want you to really focus in on is yourself, first and foremost, and then everybody external of you. So going back to the matriarch means that we need to put her back on her throne. And what I say to that simply is, it's a birthing place for this woman to be in. How do we get there? It's through our mental and our emotional body, mindset, being actually more imbalanced than we choose for it to be, because most of us have gotten very comfortable being in the society and living the reality that we have in this particular time. And so with the matriarch, we want to be able to enter and understand how she is the bridge to our expansion, as well as she's also the nurturer, the one that corrects, the one that gives the guidance and wisdom. She herself is the first teacher. She must first learn to teach herself, then it goes to her family, then it goes to the community, and then it passes on into the generations that are yet to come. With that, we're saying she's also the mother of man. She is that male or patriarch's mother. Now, the depth of the patriarch, he has to be able to be emotionally balanced, aware of who he is, so he can stand in his proper dominion, being a protector, a provider, which helps us solidify and secure the continuous liberation of all that comes after this woman and this man, generations to come, through the source, right? Some call it source, many different names, but for me, I do a lot of divination work, which is a lot of scaring, things of that sort. It is source, that invisible, that we all have within ourselves. Now, from this particular point of understanding where the male should be, we also have to realize that this is a birthing place for both of us, both male and female. Through this liberation, this is where we get to move into a space of using our words with power. With power, our thought, our capacity to take that thought, those words, and move them into an action, a deed, whether it be servicing someone, feeding them, nurturing, things of this sort. At the same time, we must be able to, you know, what I like to say, trust ourselves enough to allow the process. Oftentimes, I myself didn't allow the process because I didn't feel or think that I needed to go through a certain thing to get to a certain point that I, in myself, said I wanted to be. So it's like not putting in the work, but here, I want the, you know, the reward. With us entering understanding that we first must start with self. Who is the origin of self? Who did we come from? Her balancing herself, and us now being able to be truthful with ourselves, meaning reflecting on allowing the fact that we allow certain people to fill our heads even with mediocrity, how we think, how we move, being able to cut the cords of trauma, being able to cut the cords of low self-esteem, then being able to command and decree that you would have an operation in divine balance. And when I say divine balance, we go to, some of us know about the 42 laws of Mayat. Some of us look to the Bible. I'm working on the 42 laws of Mayat, just for those to enter and understand the context of where the rest of this session and message is going to go to and through, which is a part of a saying that I have that you'll hear a little bit more about later. So as I said, the divine balance, the balance of Mayat, like you can look very much to the 42 laws of Mayat. You can get that book, I believe it's by Nathaniel Sanders, I believe, but we'll make sure we put that in the bottom of the comment section. The Sibyls, I oftentimes have felt very much like I operate in that Sibyl. And the book is titled The Sibyls, the First Prophets of Mama Watu. That's a really good one. And then there's another one called The Woman's Dictionary, which are symbols and sacred objects. Okay? These are books that I believe are really good at giving you a more open, with wisdom, take on what it is that we need to do, not boxing it into a religious state, all right? So this is one of the things. So I needed to give you that reference, so as we keep going, certain things just drop on you, you can move it. Now, how do we do this? How do we get to that point of balance where we are first? I started with the woman, the matriarch. We're going back to the matriarch, whether people really enter and understand it or not, and that's based on the level that you're operating in. But if you look outside into TV land, social media land, you see a lot of the feminine energy being utilized by everybody. Okay, so we're definitely in that realm of the female where she is being exploited in many ways. So how do we do this? One of the things that I always say to people is first, of course, doing your shadow work, doing different things of this sort, which I'll get a little bit more into later. But it's creating those sort of ritual things. Like we all have our way of, okay, in the rising, I'm going to get up and have coffee. I'm going to do this. You have your routine, right? The depth of it is we don't make our spiritual practice, our mental practice, a part of our routine, which actually becomes a part of your day-to-day life, all right? So with rituals, what rituals am I talking about? The rituals I'm speaking about are those that you have taken on to yourself. You hold them dear. to a point that you operate in them in such a way that they start to feed you and others around you. But first, you are cleansing and correcting the self, which would be doing your spiritual baths, right? Most of us know about spiritual baths. If you know about spiritual baths, if you don't, I mean, definitely I can tell you a little bit more later, deeper in another session. But spiritual baths definitely are all about cleansing the aura, not just the physical body, but cleansing your aura. And with cleansing your aura, that's your vibration, that this casing, the underlying you, the eternal you is operating in. So this is a suit in many ways. So we get to dress it up, we get to keep it up, but we better keep it up, especially if we're trying to move through in the spirit and on a longer course of our life's purpose and path. So a spiritual bath would be a very good thing. Meditation and breath work would definitely be a good thing.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Can you hear me, Empress?
Yes, beloved, tell me.
Yes, that's absolutely. You might need to do a little bit, say a little bit more about that, because men really don't understand about spiritual baths, because I do spiritual baths.
Oh, right.
They're very important, and as you say, it really cleans your aura or your energy field and allow you to tap into different other realms and a number of other things. But yeah, go ahead. Oh man, this is awesome. Thank you.
Definitely. Okay, well, from that standpoint, and I totally agree, because we are balancing the divine male and female. So that's definitely something that men should participate in for themselves. You'll find that for the males, your energy level for who you are first will definitely increase. There's a few clients that I've had that have gone against the grain, okay? Because men, of course, you males are known to be the fighters. You go out, you're strategists, you go out into the field, so you get calculated, you get very strategic, you move in one particular motion. So to do something a little bit out of the ordinary may seem to throw you for a loop. A spiritual bath, though, is you taking in accountability of your totality, because it's who you are, who you want to resonate as.
Yes.
It's not about no one else outside of you. Now, they get the benefits of you taking time for you. So I know it's been over feminized when it shows men having, their nails done, their feet, the grooming. This is something you should enjoy. That is you. That's your casing. That's something you chose to be in. So you should move in that capacity, lighting some candles, taking time to, instead of using, and I say this loosely, but with a firm grip. I also help men with fitness. So I'm dealing with, calisthenics and things of this sort, and yoga. And the depth is to have the man take on that slower, more focused energy for himself, radiates out to everyone else. Like you're shining like, like there's a diamond. It's a real powerful thing. The aura and the smell of a man who actually takes time for himself, that's why he is so attractive. Then you add all these other things, no different than a female, but just speaking about the male, you add all these other elements that first are something you enjoy. Then it can't help but to come and be something that the woman enjoys, because you first started with your bare naked temple first. Then you added all those things onto you. So taking that time to run your bath water. If you have a woman that runs your bath water, I mean, that's even better, honey. You get she can put some of that potion right in there. Just speak to that water. But you can do that yourself. You can speak to that water. Put that water the way you need it. Get those candles, that smell, that aura. But first things first, for men and women, before you do that spiritual bath, go ahead and first shower. That's the process. Most people go jump right into the spiritual bath. No, there's a process. You're preparing your own self for your own liberation, for your own restoration. So why cleanse yourself, cleanse the air, the room, don't leave clutter, like definitely cleanse yourself. Then as the bath has been prepared, the candles are there, the frequency is set, 432, you can move in that particular side. Put that in that air. Then you go sit yourself into that. If you have crystals, put your crystals in that bath. Or maybe you're not there yet, you just got a crystal and some onyx. Just put the onyx there, honey, because you're going to vibrate and you're going to actually program that whole environment. This is how I use spiritual bath, and this is how I teach people to do it.
Yes.
Because it is a resurrection of yourself, a restoring, a renewing, a speaking into yourself the parts that you need for self. And oftentimes you may not know what to say, but if you sit there and allow yourself to just be in your own space, you'll start saying the things that you need to hear to program the water that is around you and the water that's in you. It's
yes.
a powerful thing, very powerful.
Yes.
Thing.
Absolutely.
Don't allow others to be around you that are not saged up, that are not on the same alignment, because you can come out of that fresh bath, okay, walk in and literally out into your living room and there's chaos there. You want to make sure that you are in that proper space for as long as you can. Then when you walk out into the rest of the environment, into the boardroom, into the, on the hoop court, wherever it is, that man can stand in his rightful place. It's an air. Trust and believe. People will recognize it, which you will also have to enter and understand that some people will recognize that your energy is vibrating very high, but not know why and now how you've done that. Some will be envious of that, and some will just be like trying to get, okay, what he got? What is that? As well as a woman. What does she have? She's taking time to purge, to cleanse. You're taking time to purge and cleanse and to move into that space. Most definitely. So I'm glad you said that, Apostle, because most definitely it is one of those things that men are least likely to speak about, but it's so, like, I will run the bath water. I'm just like, no, you need to go in there. I don't need to be nowhere around. You need to go just here. Just be about you right now.
Yeah.
And then you come out and you go to that altar, the other altar, because we're the first altar. Yeah. Most people get that change. They always like to just external. We put everything external and don't realize the eternal, internal is where we need to operate from, especially in the year of the 8. We are in spiritual truth. So the level is already leveled up. If you're still trying to level up in your mindset, because it's only your mindset, then you're not moving in that space and time of the now, the present being. Yeah. So most definitely, and spiritual baths.
Yes, and Empress, I think too, as you're speaking, about bringing balance and bringing balance to that, because we have the movement of the soft girl movement now, where they're moving into the soft girl, but at the same time, what are you gonna do? You're gonna lead a man hard, but I think it's pertinent.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of guy where I do take baths and I also steam.
Yes. Nice.
It's important to also at some point get you a good steam in. It does some things for the male as well as the female. And I think that somewhere we've lost balance. We don't have that balance. Maybe you can speak to that.
Most definitely. Okay, so with the way that the way that it was given, as I said, the rituals aspect, the rituals, spiritual baths, the meditation, the breath work, alternative breath work. When we're speaking about even holding your thumb over your nostril, all of this is going to work into the balance. And the first balance is why I started with, we're going back to the matriarch. We need to put the matriarch back on her throne. She is birthing the civilizations. There's already been, we see how this looks. Now if we tell ourselves, men and women, this is what we need to do, apply these applications to our internal self, which of course the spiritual baths is a part of that. The breath work is definitely a part of that. You breathe every day without ceasing, but yet how many of us control that breath to bring in that balance? It's something that I've had to learn to do on many occasions. First, the natural is just you eat and you breathe, you eat and you breathe, then all of a sudden, whoa, I'm having twins. Now I need to learn how to breathe a different way. Whoa, now I'm working out. Now I have to learn how to breathe a different way. The depth of it, though, is when it came to stress, anxiety, things of this sort, the breath work automatically starts to move the heart out of balance. So now we go back to, okay, so we're out. You can be a good man, a good woman. You're going out, but you're not doing anything for your eternal, internal wound. It's open space. Your spirit, your soul's open space, just ready to have whatever attached to it, whether you're feeding it or whether it's being fed to you. So the breath work, so your inhalation, thumb over your right nostril, inhale, count to 4, cross over with your pinky, hold for 8, exhale, and repeat the same thing. This is quite important because it allows you to center the breath. Most of us are taught that we should breathe from our chest, but we actually should be breathing from our abdomen. All right, that's second brain. If you need to be breathing from there, it helps you continuously. It's a practice. Using the Tibetan bowls on a certain frequency, the 936, which is very good for opening the deeper portal waves when we're talking about something spiritual. The 396 as well, the 396, which is really good for the stress. That's one that I've had to use a couple times for people that were really dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety. We're really, really heavy. It's good for shadow and scouring work as well, which is, for me, all about people tapping into what I call those secret places, those hidden spots within yourself. And that's the unconscious, conscious, and subconscious mind. Those things that we thought about, we were sad about, all this that are trapped in those spaces. All these type of elements are ones that we need to do to apply to get that balance. The staging and the mirror work. Most people know they just say it's voodoo or hoodoo, doing some mirror work or candle work. This is setting your intentions. I mean, some of it is laughable. Some of the stuff I hear is like, really? But I understand that there's different religions, and I've been to a lot of them, so I speak from experience. Not just
Empress, with that right there, right at that point right there, just go into a little bit of that, because to let them know that you've had a journey. We connected because we've gone through the church and came out of it. We give a little bit of that.
Okay. Well, most definitely. When I say that, I'm not just, some of the stuff is laughable. I was born into a Baptist family, so Baptist Christian, this sort of thing. And I remember at the age of 13, I was in Arlington, Virginia, and they had a church, each different church within this, area space for all of us to be. And I just got out and, just waking up early, and I visit every church, absolutely every church, looking for the voice. Now, at that time, if you said you were talking to somebody or somebody was talking to you, they'd say you're plumb crazy and want to put you in an institution. I wanted to know, how was it that I was hearing and knowing things that were happening and taking place before they happened, and why I would, go and tell the adults around me and they would have no clue. Or sometimes they would have a clue and be upset at the fact that I had actually said something, and how could I know that? I'm only a child. So I went in search of what I was hearing was where God was, where this was. So I went to the Baptist church, sat for a while, Pentecostal, Catholic. I just went through all of them. And I remember at the last church, actually, it was a Christian church, because anyway, I heard it within the self. The self was like, you're not going to find me in all these places, right? This is just where people, gather together and talk or exalt me. I'm always walking with you. And I remember looking at my best friend and just like, wow, did she hear that? Nobody else heard that? Okay. So I went ahead and went out, and I felt like from that knowledge and that time, my life really started getting just turning up, literally just back-to-back type of traumas and different things going on. And later, of course, here I go again and like circling back. And after having the twins, and I put them in a Christian, how do you call this? A Christian school, and still then, just wanting them to have a certain guidance, a certain thing, I realized after the ascension of my son that, wow, I'm way beyond where I myself am allowing myself to be. Like, I'm beyond the point that I think that I am with wisdom and understanding. Because I was so used to projecting that outwardly or asking for that to come from what we would call a pastor, a deacon, or whoever, your parents, But so far that wasn't playing out. It was coming to me outside of those people. And after the ascension, of course, the ascension of Jeremiah, I had to nurse to name him Jeremiah. Yes, Jeremiah.
Okay.
After his ascension, it went into a more deeper. I was waking up at 3 a.m. and just going to scripture, and it was going deeper. Whatever scripture I was reading was saying deeper. Now I need you to take that and go into the churches. So my second time around, like walking and going through all the churches or religions, now it starts expanding to a point that what I say that the woman is the first teacher. She's the first one to teach and to show. It's what I did with my twins. As soon as they came out, I was like, oh, I have to give it back to source. So I don't become so attached to my children, like attached in a way that I'll court them or hoard them too tight that they won't learn, that they'll be boxed in their way of thinking and thought. But at the same time, it had birthed me into a new realm. And that's why this is so important for us both, men and women. And women, especially with double fold, like she has double wounds, to be able to not just speak a thing, but walk through a thing, regardless of the situation, come out on the other side, but still like leaving, what do they call those, breadcrumbs for other people to follow behind you, even if they didn't follow you when you first were going through it. I expanded into the realm where now I had to be suspended in what we would call the middle of air, suspension, like a bird, with no attachment to, let's say, mother, father, or religion, but just source that was channeling, showing me, telling me things that I ought not know about a person that's on the, the corner, the street, whatever, my family, friends. Now I needed to go into the churches. You hear source saying, I need you to get up and you're going to go to that church over there. This is what you need to go. And I want you to trust that what comes out of your mouth is going to be what they need to hear. Oh boy. And then the other part is, as we all know, the Bible too, it said, don't be dismayed by their faces, right?
Yes.
So I heard that, like, don't be dismayed by their faces. So here's this 6'2" woman, statuesque, standing up in big congregations, telling them that this is going to, come to an end. Y'all got to stop doing certain things. Y'all have to release these souls. Release the souls. The church became so much that it started to keep the souls of the people. We're the body of the people. We are the church. We're the walking temples. The brick and mortar is just the brick and mortar. So if that kind of helps give a little context.
No, you're on point.
It just tell me.
No, you're exactly on point, because what I call, which I shared some of my excerpts with you, what I call it is being struck. Because when you get struck, your energy gets turned on, and you tap into that source, and that source tap into you, and then information starts to wake up. That's in the constitution of your makeup, and that information wakes up, and then it provides that guidance for it. And what tends to happen is that we get stuck in the church, but we should be moving through the church.
Exactly.
Because what we're only doing is recovering what we hid, so that it wouldn't be destroyed. And that's the spirit. That's the energy that we gather from that, and then we move on from there.
Yes.
We can't stay there, because if we stay there, we become programmed, and we get inundated with information that's just isn't true. Exactly. What do you think about that?
Oh, Empress? No. Most definitely. And that's the part of the programming I also have here as well. But from the more divination part, the more self-development part, in context to what you were saying, how do we do, or how I was saying previously about our actions and how we apply these different things to ourselves with rituals, of course. Another one that we don't tend to enter and understand is how serious it is about our physical health, what type of exercise we are doing. Because most of us, there's some genius people, like the brains are just, you're ultra intelligent and things of this sort, but your body's going to waste. And it's your casing, it's your temple, okay, that's holding and containing that source, the divine source, your soul. So the other thing I wanted to really relay to people, because I'm watching it, I'm able to see this with dealing with people on a spiritual and physical level through yoga, exercise, as well as divination work, spiritual work. Working with the body, the mind and the body, as well as the spirit, they all they carry so much information. They carry so much information. Oftentimes I've looked at my body and thought, wow, the body definitely knows how to heal itself. And it's my responsibility to be observant, to adhere to what it is the body's saying. So I really, really say to people that you must do some type of exercise with the body, because it's also frequency, it's water, 70% of water. So, the rest is body for the most part. So you not balancing that particular side of yourself, that water. So if you get, upset too quickly, automatically you've elevated that water, causing the body to now want to move, because the body is in a certain state. It moves based on what it's filled with. It's no different than a water bottle with bubbles. You shake it, it's gonna pop. So you would be doing the same, or anyone would be doing the same thing. So the importance of you taking time to do some type of exercise, and with that exercise, allowing that exercise to help you be flexible, more adaptable. And I will say, as a life lesson, I definitely have learned how to be more flexible and adaptable, transmutable, because one thing is very consistent, and that is change. things will change.
Yeah.
So, and with that being said, us not allowing our totality to fully be adaptable, loose, loose enough to be flexible in our mind, that we may be able to see something else from a different perspective that would actually give us a better focus on what it is we need to do.
Yes.
Exercise also helps move that trauma. Okay, so definitely when it comes to, doing yoga and more breath work, taking yourself, slowing yourself down, I definitely would say that it's one that helps move the trauma. If a person's willing, because some people I've met, it starts to come up and they'll smash it down because they're afraid of releasing that. They've been holding on to that trauma for so long that they'll choke it up and it'll start reacting in your body. It happens often. It starts reacting. It'll take its own form. It'll cause you to be kind of stagnated too, and your thoughts are not confused. And people go, oh, well, no, it's not because I'm not working out. So, well, what are you doing with all that energy? What are you doing with it? If you're really just got to move, you got to do this, you got to do something, and what you're finding yourself do is things that are not helping you, then you're not even discerning what it is you need to do for your highest good. You're just moving because it's something you feel you need to do. But you're keeping your own internal self bottled up with trauma, things of this sort. So it's definitely good to move in the physical. The next thing I would say for this balance now, using that eternal, internal, invisible womb, which is that mind, and the divination, how you use it, is what are we eating, our nutrition. What's up with our nutrition? And I'm not saying that you got to go be vegan or you got to go onto some water fast. What I'm saying is, what are you listening to? Whom are you listening to? Who's got your ear? Who's got your ear? What are you watching? Okay, what is it that you're watching? Is this actually servicing your highest good? Is this, helping those already suppressed, thoughts, negative ways of thinking, your actions? You have to become accountable for your own totality, really, and not looking at it from a standpoint like, oh, these people are doing that. Well, we know the media is doing that. How much of that media are you taking in? You're allowing that into your space. All right.
Yeah.
So when I say nutritional value, I'm not just talking about the foods. I mean, that is one, because the body is the casing, it's the vehicle, it's getting you from point A to point B. When it's time for you to ascend, you're going to leave this casing. But while you're in it, you want to do the best that you can for it. And most of us know when we're talking about food, if you go and eat 3 pieces of cake or something just ridiculous, you're going to feel a certain way. Your energy is going to go down a certain way. You're going to be mad when you get up, mad because you got to go to work, but you set your own self up for that. So accountability is a must, all right, when we're talking about nutrition. The other thing that I find that is a now, and oftentimes most people don't look at either, is synchronicity. Synchronicity, symbolism, and alignment. Yeah, and alignment. Most of us look past all of these things because we're taught to just focus on whatever this is right here and what somebody else told us about this thing. So it's a stick, but to somebody else, this isn't a stick. This is their emotional tool here that goes with their bow. This ain't just a stick. So most of us need to get to a point where we tap into the alignment. And alignment could definitely be the example of someone that is looking at themselves under a fine-tooth comb. And under a fine-tooth comb is you're correcting yourself. You don't need someone else to chasing you about something, because you're allowing yourself to see yourself, to reflect on yourself. to know that, okay, now I know I shouldn't have fussed out him, or I should have told them the truth, or which 9 times out of 10, when people tell other people the lies, it's because they've been lying to themselves. This is just what it is.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, okay?
Yeah.
So definitely looking at symbolism. Symbolism is a big thing, and I say that with even regards to like the Ankh. And because we're talking about going into balance and being into balance, I speak of the Ankh because we that know what the Ankh is, and I actually should have had my Ankh, but we know what the Ankh is. And those that don't, it is that wound, that sacred wound, and that royal phallus.
Correct.
Like, look at the balance. It's already, so that's something that's a symbolism. Like symbolism everywhere. I mean, it's just what it is. Whether we're looking at the cross, we know what that was put up and held in high esteem for this one particular. I don't even know how I should embody that. For one particular being. Let's just say that one particular being. That's what the cross was. And saying that, okay, everybody needs to come to this. So, but we can look at the Ankh, and the Ankh says that means the male and the female are connected. They're a unit.
Correct.
How powerful is that symbolism based over just one type of energy, one deity?
Yeah, well, I see it. I see the Ankh as life, and I see the cross as death. Because the cross, it represents death, and of course we know death. We don't have an actual term for that, other than our counterparts deal with that. But we know that it doesn't bring forth the positive aspect and element of life, right? So let me let you get back to that. I don't want to overshadow. I just want to put that in there.
Most definitely, because as we both know, we've gone through the journeys of being in multiple religious houses and sitting, eating, learning of the way they operate, the way they move, the benefits of them, as well as the things that we would say, you might want to go past that. But if you have to go through it, at least learn from it and teach other people to do something different.
Yes.
What it is. Being that source for the self. So I use the Ankh as a symbol of basically, again, just the male and female. And if we look at female and male, I mean, it's just, that's that's going into wordology and stuff, but you get what I'm saying. The other part of that, which I found was a very key thing too, amongst the many, when it comes to the balance of yourself first, externally. So I'm gonna go to me, matriarch woman, here I am, this is who I am. I can give birth, so now I can birth the male, the female, whomever, right? But first I need to be able to come to self and see who I am, because I'm the first teacher. But now, here's the male. The male's, he's fully grown, okay? But he also has a male and female side. So this is one of the things that I often find myself saying to people too, regarding the right side of the body, dealing with the female, and it being of creativity, holistic ways of thinking, acting, operating, the nurturer, she's full of art, this sort of thing. And the left side of the body being the male, which deals with all of the mathematics, being the logistics, strategy, things of this sort, which is great. That's good. So we all got both sides within us. However, when you look at the hemisphere that controls the left side of the body, it's the right side, the right side that's controlling it.
Yeah.
The balance, the symbolism in that, the synchronicity in that, the balance in that. I'm still female. I have both sides in me. I have both sides in me, male and female. My right hemisphere, though, is controlled by the left side, and the left side, the right.
I know, right?
No more. and I say that in the fullness or the embodiment of the fact where we see, even for myself, I played that role of being masculine because there's no male around me that's going to defend, go out for me. So the left side of me, you know, raising up the male, woof, she's up. And I say she's up. So we have a lot of women operating so much in the masculine because they've had to, for the most part. Some of them have had to. Now they're there and they're very comfortable in that spot. They don't want to be moved off of that spot because now they have to be suspended, which they're going to feel out of balance because there's no coverage for them. They haven't had time to lay in the midst of coverage to know what coverage is, because their female side is out of balance. So now bringing her into balance, she would have to have that other side to give her that reflection, or she would have to do her own inner work to become balanced, to be in that Mayad. Again, how do we do those things? As I said, we spoke about, okay, our rituals are the way that we take care of our body, using synchronicity, symbolism, even numerology. When we look at numerology, the depth of how universe and divine source is just so connected. When you look at numbers, odd numbers technically mean male. Even numbers are female. I mean, there's so much that is vibrating back to us in reflection form. It's just us taking time to actually see what is in front of us, but see it from the unseen way. Not necessarily like it's for ourselves. See it in that essence. And I say that. Okay.
And I think you're on point, because it goes back to Empress, where you're talking about articulation.
Well,
articulation is very important, because articulation is not just how you speak words and you articulate, but articulation means the movements of the joints, the body, how the body moves. And if you bring that into balance, as you were speaking earlier, as you bring that into balance, what you're speaking correlates to what you're doing with your body.
There you go.
And that brings balance and harmony to it.
That's it already. No, that's it. So all these things are placed out there. I started looking at many things. So even when I said your spiritual work, or where you're dealing with crystals and things of this sort, understanding numbers, numerology, what certain numbers mean, it only helps you move through your own space with a more clear and objective way to move. I mean, learning and understanding your own birth chart, that's what, that will help you deal with your own, what you would call your weaknesses, strengthening them. It would help you deal with your own way of thinking, acting, and moving on something. Astrology, the elements. I mean, why are the elements there? Fire is right here, fire, water, air. And most people don't even think that an element is a thought.
Right.
That everything is, created from the unseen. Then it's seen, then it's manifested. But imagine if you're doing all of that for your own self, as we are governed by an unseen governing. Most of us just looked at the governing of the scene, the political, this guy's running. No, there's also a higher governing. So when I said I'm opening up the space, I'm clearing it with some dragon's blood, because it's a collective consciousness that have said, this is what this is. This is what it does. So you use that. So like even holidays, many people don't celebrate, some do. For me, I tell people, you utilize that portal. That's a collective consciousness that goes up. That's a lot of beings, a lot of souls generating energy up. So you take the time to use that, to expand in that time. Use it how you need to. Oh, well, no, I don't. I take time to do my intentions, set my intentions in there. So if my intentions is to get myself correct, then that's what it'll be. It'll start reflecting back to you in that. So these are elements and things that we should know. which allows us to tap into our chakras, you know, really understanding how you're moving in your body. Your 7 chakras, even though there's 13, you know, but at least you get to master this right here. Then you go outside in that realm, which is the part of cleansing your aura. That's cleansing your aura. Because my aura is actually beyond these walls right now. But that's the depth of being sensitive enough to allow myself to go through the experiences, though some of them were not the greatest, and allow myself to collect the information from going through that to change it in something that would further my expansion and help other people along the way. So I say all of this in this particular time because of the time we're in. If you look worldwide, you get to see what's happening and the programming, as you spoke of earlier. And we understand that, okay, looking out for me, I see the programming working in a way that it is very patriarch. It's a patriarch flow. It's definitely a patriarch flow that's out of balance because the patriarch has put business first, friends, family, and then the matriarch at the bottom. She's at the bottom. She needs to come back up so we can have some balance. And people are writing, for me, what I see is people are starving, they're thirsty, and some of them know what they're thirsty for, and others don't. I speak from the beginning, speaking of the woman, because the woman right now is the one that's being utilized, whether it be good or bad. She's being pushed out there amongst the patriarch way, but you can see that now what I call the towering moments are happening, and we have to be willing to allow these tower moments to happen. They have to happen in order for us to rebuild something. I found oftentimes, because people would say, okay, well, I know your son ascended. I have a lot of beautiful babies, a lot of spiritual babies. You know, they're from Yeye. They call me Yeye. How you doing? What you, Mama? Okay, Empress. Okay, that's great. And at one time, I didn't really want that because it felt like so much responsibility. I did not want that. I was just like, can I just sit in the corner and just have my coffee? I don't want to be bothered with these people. I like my own little world. I'm a Pisces too, so I know my chart. I'm a Pisces. Just let me sit in my own space and create some stuff from my crystal ball. You know, this sort of thing. But what I realized with having my own children, it birthed me into motherhood. It birthed me into motherhood. I was Yemaya before, going through rape, violation, being drugged, all of it, honey. High points, you know, model this, the first of that, designer, yes, all that's fine. But the child ascends. And when the child ascends, you open up into another realm. So now you became a physical mother. And because you allowed yourself to go through certain things that most people would say, why are you doing that? You could do it the easy way, you know, because of how you look and da-da. But I wanted to own my own self. I wanted to own my own totality. So in doing that, I had to do some steps that most people be like, why are you doing it? It don't make no sense. But I needed that for me. In doing that, it helped birth me into a spiritual realm now, because I was able to alleviate that extra pressure that I put on myself, even though it was inflicted by another person. So in that affliction, I was able to carry that through and carry myself enough through that I could forgive myself for the role that I played in it. So now that I could birth forth now in the flesh, these children, secondly, in the spirit realm, because I allowed myself to move through in a certain fashion. So now the child ascends, and now you're expanding even greater because you're going through that. Not that I didn't cry, not that I didn't get depressed, not that he was quickened. Because first said, listen, you know the truth already. You know what that truth is. You're set for a certain time, a certain seed, and you ascend. Move and operate like you know you're supposed to. And in that, you get titled this. People will call you by the name, and that name you will receive. So multiple names, but the one that reigns supreme is Yeye, Mama Empress, which is beautiful.
Yes.
And I can rest in it now because I know that I've gone through a journey, and not just one of one side, but of multiple times in space in my life, because I studied thyself approved, down to my name, down to how tall I am, what this is, in the physical as well as the natural.
Yeah.
So being able to be a physical mother and a spiritual mother is quite powerful.
Yes. So let me ask you this, Empress.
Yes, I'm ready.
When I was dealing with myself and as I counsel others, there's a tendency for people to not take accountability for the part that they played in.
Woo. Yes.
What they have experienced. Can you speak to that? Can you speak to that?
Okay. On both sides. I would say after going through some traumatic things, some really traumatic things, rape, for instance, or being drugged and taken for weeks and didn't know where it was. For a while, I had no connection to it. It was like it was something that happened to somebody else, and it was like, what just happened? Then I felt guilty. Then I felt like I did something. Because I made the choice to go over there, then whatever happened to me, it happened to me because of this. Then I had to come to the realization, no. You need to be accountable for that part that you played. You didn't drug yourself and have you act out a certain way. Your role and in action was from here to here. All of this is something that was added onto you. You played a role by walking through it, whether you knew it or not. But don't take hold of that particular part for yourself. Forgive thyself for making a move, but now you enter and understand your awareness of it. Accountability for whatever it was, even to a point, because I was a single mother with 2 children, the lights went out. And I remember I came in from work and I picked them up and the lights are out, and my son turns to me and he asked me for something, and I just yelled at him. I yelled, can you please, accountability, quickened. Oof. What did you just do? That child had no idea of what was happening to you. You both were going through something, but with different levels of inner and understanding. Accountability, I played a role in that. Well, had I done this, I should have just went over there and made sure that was taken care of before I got. Own the space that you actually have done something in, so you can forgive yourself, so you can move through the rest of it. So there was a twofold situation. I should have moved quicker at taking care of that instead of saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Let me just get the babies home. Now, once I got home, now I've inflicted something upon the child. And that's how quick it moves. That's how quick it moves to be out of balance or in balance with all of us. So now I've spoken now to the child in a way that the child didn't deserve. And I had to quicken and now be accountable now from this action to that. But I had to release it and forgive ourselves. Most of us harvest and hold on to it. Not that we don't have assistance, because family, friends, people will, you did this, you did that, Well, okay, I did that. This is where like to tell people we live in the past, present, and the future all at the same time. It's based on our recognizance of mind, how we move in here. I can tell you about what just happened, 2 or 3 years ago, but literally I just made a statement a few minutes ago, which means that's in the past. What I'm speaking about right now just came in the past, but now it's in the present.
Correct.
We use how powerful we are, but we won't know that if we don't take accountability for our actions. A lot of women would be upset at me because, in the past, because there'll be men in the room, females in the room, and the women will say, oh, well, men don't do this, da, 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 and I'd be like, well, that don't really make sense, baby. That, the fellas got a point. And the women would be mad at me. I said, no, listen, the depth is, even in the relationships I've been in, I've taken accountability for my part in those relationships. So I can't say, okay, even though me and that person's not together again, okay, this is what happened. I still played a role in it. I still operated in that relationship. There was still something in that relationship that I felt was servicing me at that time. There was accountability. So, okay, well, y'all are not together anymore. So what happened? And, you know, even to his account, he'll say, yeah, I did it. But I also have to say, listen, I still played a role. I walked it out. There was still something in this man or individual I needed to work with. I wanted it. That was good. That side of me, that male side of me that liked that machismo, that also side of the female that liked that machismo. It was two sides of myself. And it was like, okay, Yamaya, this is good, but which side are you going to balance with now? You got to balance with, you got to balance them both. And he has to give you that balance back so it stays even. I'm a big girl. I'm not just going to be all cute all the time. I need some. But in that, I had to go through my growth process. So the really bad boys, or the men that are have extracurricular activities, yes, because he had a certain mystique, a certain element about himself that is a part of my side. I'm very mystic. So if he can do his magic, that only feels real nice. And it's powerful. But the depth is both of us needed to be balanced. Like, okay, I'm gonna balance you, you're gonna balance. Okay, one can't, no, it's out of balance. It's gonna be out of balance. So I had to own any type of thing and women were like, oh my God, but he was such a, I said, yeah, but I have to own my part. I played a role. I allowed it. I moved in it, which most people don't. Okay, you teach them how to treat you. Most women go, oh, well, this guy did this and that. I was like, okay, baby, but did you tell him you didn't like that? Or, did you? Well, how are you? You're either going to have to leave because you stay there, then you're still playing a role. You're playing that out. Now it's no longer something that you can look at him and say, it's all your fault. No. And believe in it. I know, and I've been through rape, violation, abandonment. I get it. And that particular side of yourself too, being able to release yourself from that, then you won't harvest and hold that for so long. It does take work. I'm not saying that's easy, which actually brings me to one of my closing points, which is about meditation. Because the whole point is, how do we, as male and female, move into a balance by utilizing that eternal, invisible womb, that source spot.
Yes.
And the other part was of basically using, because people meditate, okay? Not everybody. Some people pray, some people meditate, however you move. I pose that that we ought to be in a more meditative state.
I agree.
Not that meditation is bad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their way of doing meditation. Some people will light candles, some people go out by the water. For me, I'm saying however you find it, utilize it, move through it, So if it's out in the amongst the trees, fine. But most what I have an understanding for is, especially in the yoga world, or I should say industry as a whole, people tend to just box meditation in. They box meditation in, which also boxes you in, because some people who don't meditate at all, like, no, I'm not gonna meditate. I can't sit still for 5 minutes. You want me to sit down and just do nothing and don't listen to music or do listen to music? No. My mind is scattered. It's telling me Joe did that. Sally is over here. How you not paying the bill? You know, it's doing all these things. And I've said to people often, because most of the people I deal with are, you know, they're running businesses and things of this sort, and their mind's going, and I'm just like, okay, listen. The biggest thing outside of sitting down, lighting the candles, and you just sit here and you breathe, which is a very good help. It helps so much. I've done it, still do it. What I realized is once you get up from that state, and I've seen it happen with myself, with other people, literally clients, in such a beautiful state, peace, just woof. They get up, they go out, and it's like the wind blows. Isn't that a scripture too in the Bible where we talk about don't be tossed to and fro?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Literally see a person's aura, energy change to complete just woof. They're still dealing, they're growing. That's number one. They're dealing and they're growing in allowing themselves to purge out, to tap in, to purge out those things, thoughts, actions, which of course end up being actions by your thoughts, to release them. But I would say to them often, I think you need to go, or I know you need to go more to a meditative state. So meditate with your eyes open. So I've been in circles for meditation, you know, where people will see me in their meditation, and I'm like, we're doing deep meditation, yeah? And I have my eyes open one time, and these people are not used to certain folks. It's like, what? And everybody's coming too, but I'm still there. I'm still there. And once I did that, I realized that was tapping into a part of source within the self. That's the part that's my peace. That's my center. That's where I call when I do that breath work. That's what I do when I want to focus on hitting calisthenics, a handstand, a split. That's through that breath and all of that channeling. So now, even when I step out of, let's just say, a studio, even this office, I'll be able to tap into that if what is on the external side of myself does not line up with the internal, eternal wound. This part.
Yes.
That's the clicking. So I pose that to everyone who will get to listen to this, the people that are listening now, that we operate from a meditative state continuously with our eyes open, because we don't walk around with our eyes closed. Again, not that the normal practices of meditation don't work. Do them as you apply. As you apply, you expand. The more you do them, the more you expand into your own way of tapping into source that's within you. Yeah, this is such a powerful thing for me, and it's contained within the heart, which is also the subconscious mind, which is, we'll go into that, has to be in another video, but the dreaming, the aspect of that part. So this is the place that I wanted to come to in the true session, going back to that matriarch, looking at that matriarch, putting her on the throne, but while she's on that throne, she also has to do her own internal work. She's got to do her internal work to be in balance, to speak in balance, to operate in balance, to allow that divine source, whether she's been through trauma, abandonment, not being able to see herself through by self-sabotaging, that's a good one as well. She would be able to pull her own self up within herself, allow herself to purge, and then be able to nourish herself so she can be that very thing for people external. But in that, men can do that same thing too, because they have the wound, and the wound of the mind, the source being their divine source, that soul operating. So whatever he speaks or thinks of himself, so shall he be. As he moves in that vibration, energy, that's what his subconscious will start to pour into his conscious reality. And in his unconscious state, it will move and shift the things that don't service his highest good. So remember or I should say, recognize the fact that we ought to use the symbols for what they are. Because, of course, everything is so deep how we can keep talking about this, but using the symbols for what they are, using yourself as the first altar, the male and female traits, inner and overstanding them within the self. So you can, you know, women love strong men. They do love strong men. I absolutely love a man that can just like rest in that, like he can rest in it, and it's just it's delicious. It's delicious. Do you hear me? And he come out of that bath and you just love, honey, please do your magic. Please do your magic. Speak. What you say, provider? What you say? What you say, protector? I'm here. We're listening. So these are the things that I really believe that we ought to do in the spiritual year, which is of the 8th, which will allow us to move in a time and space where the matriarch will come forth bearing fruit, being a nurturer, stable in her emotions, while being provided and protected by the divine masculine, while he resonates in his dominion. I appreciate y'all time. I really do. I really appreciate your time. You allow me in your space. I'm HP, Empress, Yemajier, your Orathon symbol. Yeah. That's all I had, baby. That's all I had.
Hey, that was so delectable.
I'm hoping so for love.
So, yes, instructional. It really opened up and released some things. This is the perfect platform, for your level of articulation, for your realm of articulation. Because certainly we don't want to just waste our words and information and articulation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's excellent information. And what we would always tell the people, listen, if someone is giving you free game, you should take time out to listen.
I say, must
You know,
definitely.
because it's not always going to be available, maybe in a free state, you know. And the only thing that we do is ask people to donate. If you donate, that helps us continue to be able to create content and to bring such personalities and guests and goddess and empress as yourself. It helps us to do that. And oftentimes we don't understand to understand to overstand. So to ultimately surround stand. So we kind of get things confused. And then when things are unavailable to us, we're looking around like, well, why isn't that available? Well, when you have an opportunity, you can invest in it. You know, yeah. You had an opportunity and you didn't invest in that. But yeah. Any last words? Let everyone know how they can reach you. Let them know where they can donate.
I'm sorry, sis. Well, actually, we'll put it in the chat. I think Eris is somewhere doing her thing. She gonna put it in the chat.
Okay.
But most definitely on the website and emails. We have our YouTube channel, which is really good. Well, we're definitely, I'm sure Eris is gonna put this on. But yeah, Yeah, so just the website, YamayaFaye.com. You know, my email address is the same. So just say it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, she put it
Amazing.
down. I'm sure she
Let
put
me
in chat.
see.
Look, I've done my part. Look, it's now the yeah,
Okay.
she works all the electrical things.
Okay, hold on. So let me see.
Did she put it there?
God's gift to goddesses was in the house. Um, says I love you.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
the master teacher, Pocahontas says yes. That's that masculinity. Let me see. Okay. Poker says love y'all. I will rewatch.
Listen.
Um,
Okay.
okay.
Especially the ones that, yeah. Yes. So it was good. It was very good. I appreciate it.
I was trying to see.
Those that will hear it afterwards.
Yes, Kiana was saying yes. Let me see what she said. Yes, she's one of us. Yes, this thing is so hard to read. I don't know why they do this like that.
Yes, it is. It is. Definitely.
So we'll be able to go back and get it. I was trying to pull it up on my computer, and it's doing whatever it's want to do. But yes, what kicks you come at it?
Yeah, she just said, love the knowledge you gave us. Thank you for sharing with us.
Kizzy said, love you. Thank you for the knowledge that you shared with us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I couldn't see it. Okay, yeah, we probably have to go back up. Okay, so let's disconnect and we'll I'll inbox you. We'll hook up. We've reached that space where you get the last word and then I'll close us out.
Well, first, I would like to just give all divine gratitude to divine source that allows me to move in such a manner. And I speak that over all those that were able to hear and will hear from this point on. May we tap into the divine source that works in us, through us, to us, for us, and by us. I say ashe to you, Apostle.
Ashe.
Te quiero mucho.
Yes. Listen, we reached that space, place, and time where you all know, I must say, hold what you got. Muse over it. Cogitate upon it. Ponder on it. Meditate upon it. But by all means, do what? Govern yourselves accordingly. One love, eternal light, peace, power, prosperity, and excellent health.
Most definitely.
Shalom Aleichem, Mishpikar. Peace be unto you, family. I love you, Empress, Eris. Thank you guys so much. Amazing time. Yes. Mwah, mwah, mwah.